1. Question the spider story. Question why traditional Islam, which you were taught as Hadith Sunnah, is the same as Jewish beliefs. Job 8:13-15. This is the end of everyone who forgets God, this is the hope of the godless. His trust is broken, and his support is a spider's web. He leans on his web, but it collapses, he holds on to it, but it does not hold. 2. Question why you were circumcised like the Jews. Genesis 17:10-11 inches. This is the condition of the covenant that I have made with you and your descendants, every male among you must be circumcised. You must be circumcised, and circumcision is a sign of the covenant between us. Bible Acts 7:8. Then God made the covenant with him of circumcision, and Abraham became the father of Isaac, circumcised him when he was 8 days old. Your deal is ruined. Religion is truly an opium. What does circumcise an 8-day-old baby mean? Why do you torture a tiny baby? Why do you stifle his sexual life? As the Quran puts it, you are Satan's. In Nisa 117-119 they worship only females instead of Allah. Thus they worship only the stubborn Satan. Allah cursed him and he said, I will surely take a share from your servants. I will surely lead them astray and I will surely lead them astray, and I will order them to slit the ears of cattle, and I will order them to change what Allah has created. You have followed Satan by changing the creation. Well then, may your fire be abundant. 3. Question why the Jews sacrifice animals like the Passover animal and why they make the pilgrimage to their tefillin Kaaba. Exodus 14. This day shall be a memorial to you, and you shall celebrate it as a feast day to the Lord, and you shall celebrate it as a perpetual ordinance throughout your generations. Exodus 21. Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go quickly, choose sheep for yourselves for your families and slaughter them for the Passover sacrifice. There is no concept of Eid al-Adha in the Quran. There are concepts of Eid, Id, and sacrifice, but they are not used together in any verse. The word translated as sacrifice is qurban. The literal meaning of qurban is to approach, to draw near. The equivalent of the word slaughter is nahar. It is not fully understood whether the word qurban, which is used predominantly during the Hajj process, means to draw near to God, or to slaughter an animal. If the word qurban really means slaughtering an animal, then all the verses translated in this way contradict Maida 27. Because this ritual started with Abraham. The Eid al-Adha ritual that we practice today has been passed down to us from the Torah, and in the Quran, this situation is implicitly criticized and the reason for which animals should be slaughtered is described, see Al-Hajj 36:37. Exodus 24-27, you and your children must observe this as a permanent ordinance. You must observe this custom when you enter the land that the Lord has promised you. When your children ask you, what is the meaning of this ceremony? You must say, this is the Lord's Passover, because the Lord spared us by passing over our houses when he slew the Egyptians. The Israelites bowed down and worshipped. As you can see, going on a pilgrimage to the so-called Holy Lands, making a sacrifice, celebrating it as a holiday, and even praying and bowing after the sacrifice are all things that have been passed down to us from the Torah. Bible Galatians 24-25. There is a parable here. These women represent two covenants. One is from Mount Sinai, she gives birth to children who will become slaves. This is Hagar. Hagar represents Mount Sinai in Arabia. She is the equivalent of today's Jerusalem. Because she is in slavery with her children. The Kaaba, which you go to thinking it is the house of Allah, is actually a gathering place for Jewish slaves. Haser al-Esved means, Haser, stone, Esved, black, Haser al-Esved, black means stone. The reason why its shape is like the opening of a vagina is probably, according to the Bible verse I just gave, to understand that Abraham's wife Haser gave birth to the Hebrew slaves. Look, I'm not saying these, the holy books are saying them. Now you should ask yourself, when did we become rabbinic Jews? Is it over? Of course it's not over. For why do you recite the call to prayer like the Jews? Why do you perform ablution like them? And question why you pray like them. In Judaism, there are 5 daily prayers: Shaharit morning prayer, Musaf noon prayer, Mina afternoon prayer, Nilat Sherarim evening prayer, and Marib night prayer. Source: Wiki. 5. Question why you marry your young people according to Jewish customs and traditions. Genesis 34:14. They said, "No, we cannot give our sister to an uncircumcised man, it would be a shame for us." There are many more items like this. Which one should I list? Almost 90% of the practices that are considered to be required by Islam are actually Jewish practices. I have explained many of them with evidence. Allah told you to question, but you did not question. Al-Isra 36. And do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. For the hearing, the sight and the heart are all held responsible for it. He said, "Do not obey your fathers," you obeyed. 170. And when it is said to them, "Follow what Allah has revealed," they say, "No, we will follow the path we found our fathers following." What if their fathers did not understand, nor did they find guidance? He told you, do not be friends with the Jews, but you became friends. In fact, you lived and worshipped as they did. Beyond friendship, I explained all of this. Al-Ma'idah 51. O you who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians as friends, for they are friends of one another. And whoever of you takes them as friends is one of them. Surely, Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people. Allah told you, there is no compulsion in religion. You have wronged many people because they do not fast and do not pray. Al-Baqarah 256. There is no compulsion in religion, for truth is distinguished from error. You did the opposite of what Allah said. If you still think that you are a beloved servant of Allah despite all this, I think you should start questioning yourself and your faith immediately. While I cannot be convinced by all this fraud and hypocrisy, just think how will God be convinced?